I want to discuss a movie, Obsession movie. Has anyone watched it? Obsession movie, it's a movie that was released. I think it was released earlier this year, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a horror movie, and I think it's my favorite horror movie. And it was created by just YouTubers. There's a guy, he was doing skits, and he decided to just make a movie, and it was so good. I liked everything about it. I'm a musician, and I like the melodies, like scary effects, scary melodies, the lights, the timing. It was just so good. And I want to watch a video and react to it. It's called Every Detail You Missed in Obsession Movie. So if you haven't watched it yet, maybe you should skip this video because there probably will be spoilers. So I want to watch it and react together. I'm gonna watch this video right now. Let's start.
Nikki is Bear's cat. While the film never confirms this outright, there are several details that makes it surprisingly compelling. The biggest clue comes from Bear's wish itself. But if we're talking about who already loved Bear more than anyone, the answer might not have been Nikki at all. It could have been his cat. After Nikki appears, a lot of her behavior feels unusually animalistic. She frequently hides in corners.
This is my favorite part of the movie, guys. As you can see, this is basically a screenshot from the movie. Oh, and they increased the brightness here. There in the original movie, it's so dark, and it's the way she speaks here, the way she moves her body here. It's just so, I don't know, like it's just scary.
And silently watches Bear from a distance. There are multiple scenes where she observes him while he sleeps. Much like a cat,
Just look at the lights, guys. She's standing in the darkness. It gives you this a little bit like fear, and you don't know what to expect. Just sounds effects are, you don't know if there will be jump scare or not. I love this movie.
keeping watch over its owner. Even the way she moves through certain scenes can feel less human and more predatory, almost as if she's mimicking human behavior rather than naturally understanding.
Yes, and the actress played very well here. Actually, all actors.
There are visual clues as well. During the silhouette scene, Nikki's glowing eyes resemble the reflective eyes of a cat at night. She also spends long
Oh, that's interesting. But I still don't think that Nikki is the bear's cat, the main character's cat. Because if you haven't watched this movie, just watch it. Obsession movie. It's very good movie.
periods waiting by the door for Bear to return, which is classic pet behavior. Perhaps the most disturbing detail is that she repeatedly brings death and violence into Bear's life. In a twisted way, it's similar to how cats sometimes bring dead animals back to their owners as gifts. If she really is Bear's cat, then her actions aren't motivated by romance at all. They're the extreme distorted form of unconditional devotion, meaning of the
I don't think, and that's a nice opinion, but I don't think that Nick is bear's cat. But okay, let's go to the next one. Meaning of the flower vase. Okay.
flower vase. When Nikki appears to hide her face behind the flower vase, the interpretation is that this scene represents the ongoing struggle between the real Nikki and the version of Nikki created by the One Wish Willow.
Yes.
Throughout the film, there are hints that Nikki's identity isn't entirely stable. We know that strange changes can occur when she sleeps, and several scenes suggest that the original Nikki may still exist somewhere beneath the obsessive persona created by the Wish. Because of that, the vase scene isn't just a visual scare. It could be evidence that the real Nikki is briefly fighting her way back to the surface. Under this interpretation, the reason Nikki hides her face is because the transformation isn't complete. The Wish-created version of Nikki wants to maintain the illusion of being the perfect person for Bear, while the real Nikki is attempting to regain control.
Well, we know after you watch the movie, you know that there was a scene where the real Nick is trying to talk, so it is true. But it's kind of obvious. It's the title of this video that we're watching right now, Every Detail You Missed. Actually, I don't think anyone missed it, but okay, yeah.
This also helps explain why Nikki seems uncomfortable with sleep and dreams. If the original Nikki becomes stronger whenever consciousness fades, then
Yeah, that's a good point. She struggles with sleep. That makes sense.
then sleep would be one of the few moments where the wish-created version risks losing control. That could be why she becomes increasingly desperate to keep Bear close, because the closer she gets to him, the harder it becomes for the real Nikki to break through. Meaning of Bear's car. Throughout the film, the car consistently represents Bear's sense of control, privacy, and emotional safety. Some of Bear's most vulnerable moments happen inside the vehicle. It's where he makes his wish at the One Wish Willow, and later it's where he vents his frustrations and desperately tries to undo the consequences of that wish. Unlike the outside world, the car is an enclosed space where Bear can be honest about how he truly feels. At the same time, the film uses the car to show Bear's emotional barriers. When he first tries to confess his feelings to Nikki, the car door physically separates them. That
I don't think that was the meaning of the car, but it's another nice angle to look at. Also, there was a scene where the bear, the main character, the guy, he calls to the company of this One Wish Willow to ask if he can alter the wish. I don't know, just like very very cool conversation, and he was talking with the person. That person was actually the producer of the movie. Just that conversation was very cool.
barrier mirrors the emotional wall he's unable to break through. Rather than being direct about his feelings, he hides behind the safety of the vehicle and misses his opportunity to be honest. What's interesting is that the car slowly transforms from a sanctuary into a prison. After the wish, Nikki forces her way into that space and pressures Bear into taking her home. Later, Ian uses the confined environment of the car to confront Bear about Nikki's increasingly disturbing behavior. The very thing that once protected Bear becomes a place where he's trapped by the consequences of his own choices. The most important detail, however, is that Bear is always in the driver's seat. No matter how uncomfortable or difficult the situation becomes, he still has agency. He can stop the car, leave, or choose a different direction. Nikki can't. If the film's interpretation of the wish is correct, she's trapped in the passenger seat of her own body.
Actually, there was a scene where the bear was on the passenger seat. And that's one of the scariest scenes from the whole movie.
Forced to watch as the wish-created version of herself takes control. Nikki's Instagram liker. Here's a small detail in Obsession that most viewers probably missed because it flashes by so quickly. Early in the film, when Bear is scrolling through Nikki's Instagram profile, the posts appear to be part of a fully created social media account made specifically for the movie. But if you look closely at the likes on Nikki's photos, you'll notice something interesting. Several of the posts are listed as being liked by Cooper Tomlinson. Fans of the filmmakers will immediately recognize that name because Cooper Tomlinson plays Ian in the movie. He's also well known as one half of the comedy duo That's a Bad Idea.
Yeah, by the way, these are the guys who created the movie, and basically these two guys, they have a YouTube channel, they have skits, very very funny. I noticed them like 3 years ago or something, and the guy on the left, he actually created this movie, but the guy on the right, he's an actor on this movie.
Alongside director Curry Barker. Since Nikki's Instagram was built specifically for the film, someone had to manually add those names and details to the screen. That means Cooper's name showing up wasn't a random algorithm or a real Instagram interaction. It had to be intentionally placed there by someone involved in the production. One Wish Willow Vendor. During Bear's first visit, the stand appears to be run by a woman. However, when Bear later returns looking for answers, the person behind the counter appears to be a man. The change is so noticeable that many fans immediately wondered whether it was intentional. The vendor may have used the One Wish Willow on themselves. When Bear questions the man, he mentions that he has already made a wish, meaning that the vendor's wish was to become a man.
That's interesting. Yeah, there was a scene in the beginning of the movie that the vendor was a woman, but in the end, it's a guy. But it can be just a coincidence, I don't know.
Which would explain why Bear encounters what appears to be a different person the second time he visits. What's interesting is that the film never directly addresses the change. Throughout Obsession, the One Wish Willow is portrayed as an object capable of fundamentally altering reality and people's lives. If someone had used it to change themselves, the film's world would likely treat that new reality as completely normal.
Yeah, when the bear, the main character, called to the company that produced this One Wish Willow, the answer was, yeah, it's still real.
The fact that the character openly admits to having used a wish has led many viewers to connect the dots themselves. If it's true, it serves as a clever piece of world building. It would be one of the few examples in the film of someone using a wish successfully and living with the result, showing that the one-wish willow doesn't just affect Bear and Nikki, it has likely changed many lives before the story even begins. Nikki's final wish. This detail suggests that Nikki ultimately makes the same wish that Bear made at the beginning of the story.
Yeah, guys, I just want to say it again, guys. If you haven't watched, you should watch. I think that's a very, very cool movie. It's a horror movie, but just go watch it, guys.
Bear wished for Nikki to love him more than anyone else in the world, creating the obsessive version of Nikki that drives the film's horror. Nikki's final wish reverses the dynamic and places Bear under the influence of a similar supernatural compulsion. You can see this point to Bear's sudden behavior after the wish. He becomes intensely affectionate toward Nikki, showering her with the love and attention she desperately wanted. His actions almost seem forced, mirroring the unnatural obsession that Nikki displayed throughout the movie. For the first time, Bear appears to be experiencing the same loss of free will that Nikki suffered. The theory becomes even darker when you consider the pills. Bear remains under the wish's influence only while he's alive. Once the pills finally take effect and he dies, the supernatural connection is broken. That's why Nikki's expression appears to change so dramatically in the final moment.
And not only Nikki, but basically her wish in the end was that for a bear to love her, and both of their expressions changed. It happened literally in the end of the movie, and it's very easy to miss, I think, because it happened very fast. There were so many things happening at the same time. She wished for it literally in the end of the movie.
The obsession disappears, reality sets in, and she is finally left to confront what has happened. The ending is intentionally ambiguous, allowing multiple interpretations to coexist. But if this detail is correct, it creates a tragic full-circle ending. Bear's selfish wish destroyed Nikki's freedom, and Nikki's final wish briefly does the same to Bear, proving that neither of them could escape the consequences of trying to force love that was never meant to be controlled. The one wish Willow...
Yeah, basically this movie is about how one wish can change a lot, and you need to be careful with your wishes, because when it comes true, horrible things can happen.
Company. One of the coolest Easter eggs in Obsession isn't hidden in the background of a scene. It's actually printed directly on the One Wish Willow packaging itself. If you look closely at the box, you'll notice that the company behind the product is called Tabi Cat. At first glance, it sounds like a random brand name created for the movie, but fans of director Curry Barker may recognize it immediately. Many viewers believe Tabi is a reference to That's a Bad Idea, the YouTube channel created by Curry Barker and Cooper Tomlinson long before.
I didn't notice it. Their YouTube channel is called That's a Bad Idea. I missed it, but it's so hard to notice actually.
Before Obsession was ever made. For years, That's a Bad Idea built a following through comedy sketches, short films, and creative projects online. In many ways, that channel served as the foundation for the careers that eventually led to Obsession being produced. Because of that, the appearance of Tabi on the One Wish Willow box feels less like a coincidence and more like a tribute to where everything started. It's the kind of detail that most viewers would never notice unless they paused the movie or were already familiar with the filmmaker's work. But for longtime fans, it acts as a small reward hidden within the story. Rather than creating a completely random fictional company, the filmmakers seem to have woven a piece of their own history directly into the movie's world. The sound of the wish. Whenever someone successfully makes a wish with the One Wish Willow, the object plays a distinct jingle. Most viewers
just like these chords, they're so terrifying, and when you watch this movie, you actually feel uncomfortable, and I guess people who love watching horror movies, they like this feeling. These sounds, these chords they're just amazing.
Hear it once at the beginning of the film and never think about it again. But the sound actually changes depending on what's happening. After Bear uses his wish, he repeatedly tries to make another one. He desperately wants to undo the damage he's caused and spends multiple scenes attempting to break the rules of the One Wish Willow. What's fascinating is that every time he tries, the familiar jingle is altered. Instead of the original sound, it plays a distorted variation, almost like the willow itself is rejecting him. According to Curry Barker, this wasn't accidental. The changed jingle acts as a warning. The One Wish Willow is essentially telling Bear, you've already used your wish. The rules haven't changed and the supernatural object isn't willing to grant another chance. The detail becomes even more important near the end of the film. When Nikki interacts with the willow, the original jingle returns. Unlike Bear, Nikki hasn't made a wish before. From the willow's perspective, she's still eligible. The fact that the original sound plays confirms that this isn't a failed attempt or a broken willow. It recognizes Nikki as a first-time user. What makes this detail so brilliant is that it quietly reinforces one of the movie's most important rules without ever stopping to explain it. The audience is never given a lengthy exposition scene. Instead, the answer is hidden in a sound effect that most viewers never notice.
Well, it's not like very scary movie. This movie has jump scares, but not a lot. It's just like the constant uncomfortable feeling and very interesting scenario. I just wanted to react to this video to learn something new and just to share my opinion. So yeah, I just really like this movie, guys.